Greetings and salutations. This is Scott Williamson coming to you with another video that I've recorded, and we're going to start out with some reference material that I picked out for this one. As you can see, I'm doing another mountain slash rock slash bay type shot that I'm doing, and I really wanted to try to get a little bit more reference material worked into this one, which I remembered about for the first half of this, and then the second half I totally didn't use it at all, which is probably the part I should have been looking a little more closely on it. So yeah, it kind of shows in the end product, I think. I also spent some more time working on the line work of this one, so you'll see me spend a little bit more time on that. This one took me a little bit longer to do because it was a more complicated draw, and I was wanting to really try to put some more detail into this one, which didn't actually end up happening in the end. But the line work, I think, actually worked pretty well for what I had here. I did some perspective lines to begin with to try to get everything to look right, and hopefully that helped my end product a little bit. And tell me what you guys think about it. So let me give you some background on what this drawing is supposed to be. A while back, a couple years now actually, a friend of mine and I were working on building our own RPG. This was his idea, and so he came up with a lot of stuff. I have to give him credit for that. And what the city I'm trying to draw here, is it's a dwarven city, an ancient dwarven city that has later been taken over by a Roman-like human civilization. It's a port city on these impenetrable sea cliffs. And so the only access to the city would be through either the dwarven mines or from the seaport that I'm trying to draw here. And so it has this great big sea wall in front of it, and this big bay area that I'm trying to draw. And so that's the idea that I have in my head when I'm trying to draw this. And it was really kind of a frustrating picture because I have that grandiose idea in my head, and it just didn't come out right. And the end product I didn't feel. So you'll see that kind of as we go along. I've about finished my line drawing here, I think. And yep, started blocking in some colors here. Start with the ocean underneath. I tried to use only one layer when I'm painting this to try to really kind of teach myself some more traditional painting techniques to think ahead in my composition, which I did a terrible job of this time. Because usually you want to start in the back and work your way forward, which is great so far. I'm working on the ocean and the sky, which is behind everything else. But then I jumped forward to the rocks in the front, which was a bad idea. I should have started with the mountains in the back and worked to the sea cliffs, and then worked to the sea wall, and then the towers in the front, and blocked in the values there. But that didn't work out right. So I think I was kind of happy with how the lighting worked out. I liked how the lighting came up the river. It really gave the picture a strong flow, a good point of interest. The main point of interest I was trying to bring into this one is the big sea gate in front, in about the middle left third of the picture. So that was where I was trying to draw the attention to. Whether I succeeded or failed, well, you're the judge of that. Alright, now I'm blocking in some colors. I tried doing some painting in some colors, and it just wasn't working, so I went to my lasso tool and went to block in some colors that way, which really worked really well. I think I'll try to do that more in the future. It went really fast. I was able to get some crisp lines and some shapes. I think it worked pretty well. I just need to work more on getting the value correct afterwards. It's really hard for me to juggle in my mind the hue, the saturation, the brightness, and where it places in the picture and how it recedes or falls back based on those values. Keeping all those things in mind at once is a mental juggling trick, which I have in no way mastered. So here I am putting in some more lighting values. I've got most of my shapes and my colors blocked in at this point in time. And so I'm going to start working on some detail here on this rock. I have no idea why I chose this rock. Probably was not the best choice to start with, but I was really trying to experiment with some lighting here. I want to see how the rocks were going to form up. And truth be known, I probably should just leave my rocks at a stage at this and go away, but I don't know, I keep tinkering with it and tinkering with it and tinkering with it, and it just doesn't really help my composition at all. At the end of the picture, you'll see that the thing I'm most happy with is actually the value and lines of the mountains in the background. They look the best to me, even though they're the farthest away and the ones I put the least amount of time and effort into. So, we'll see how it goes. I guess this one didn't come out too bad, but it did take a lot longer than I would have liked. Yeah, see, this is the problem I started running into, where I should have done my base values first and then done the forward values after that. And I was trying to put in some of the values of the shadows on the water, and it was really hard because I had already painted the cliff in front of it. All right, so here I'm starting to work on the Watchtower on the front left of the picture. And this is going to try to draw your eye into the picture. I'm going to make it really dark, and I want to make it prominent and put some detail into it. So your eye will go to this, and hopefully from there it will flow to the rest of the picture. And the rest of the picture will hopefully try to keep your eye bouncing around, but inside the composition itself. So I put some bright red in there, which is always a great way of catching your eye, is using just a splotch of little red, bright color. It'll automatically draw your eye to it. So the idea is here, like basically an old-fashioned lighthouse, all right? You have a big fire beacon on top with a tower that is built out of a natural sea, like rock tower, but it's augmented with some dwarven-made lighthouse stuff. So once I get that one down, I go on to the one in the background, and I tried not to spend as much time on this one as I did on the forward one, because your eye will see the forward one, and then if it has a similar shape in the background, it's going to automatically fill in all the detail and just repeat that shape farther and farther back. And so this is part of the exercise I'm trying to learn while doing this, is the economy of drawing, because you can't fully detail out every piece of your drawing, especially in the concept art phase. You just want to get the important details and let your mind fill in the rest. And so knowing what details to put in and what details not to is really difficult. Like, for example, here I'm starting to work on more of like the wall. The idea was that there would be some natural rocks making a seawall there, but they had been augmented again with more stone and masonry that the dwarves had come in and put in. And so I was trying to show the contrast of those two things working together. I just didn't know how much detail to put into it and how much just to block in some colors. And in the end, it just kind of looked airbrushed and a little bit muddy. So not sure I entirely enjoyed that. Yeah, but hey, I'm learning. I keep watching the FZD videos. I once again will recommend them and send you to FZD School, their YouTube channel. It's good stuff to watch. I enjoy it. And really, that is, aside from my videography classes I took while in college, that's about where my concept art framing and composition ideas come from. I don't really have a lot of formal training as far as like art goes. I taught that to myself when I was sick for a while and I couldn't do anything else. Originally, I was doing an audio degree. I spent some time trying to learn radio broadcasting, and then I had to switch schools and ended up doing videography, so I got a little bit of everything. So from learning video stuff, I learned a little bit about the composition, how things flow, and how your eye works, and what you look for, and how to tell a story through pictures. And that's really where I got my interest in telling stories through pictures. And I really love practicing things like this. So I'm getting a little bit more towards the detailed part of the composition. Now I started working on trying to put some more roads and some signs of civilization onto the rocks in the background. And here I was running into another part where my lack of training is really coming into focus, is I have a hard time showing distance and scale. Like way back there, I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to see a road, but I didn't know how else to show like some sort of sign of civilization and thing back there. Whereas I'm sure someone who knew what they're doing and knew basically, well, the basics of art and design would know where I went wrong and how to fix that. So at this point in time in the painting, I was getting tired of it. And so I started just tweaking some of the global values with some airbrushing, trying to get some parts of the composition to recede a little more, some to come forward. And in the end, I actually ran a couple adjustment layers on top of it, a vibrance layer and a levels adjustment to help it look a little bit better, and it worked. So here I am putting on the smoke, just a couple last touches here, and this composition will be done. I didn't end up putting any of like the grandiose buildings or things I have in my imagination for this, and really the sea cliffs dwindled the more I painted them, so really they need to be bigger from what was in my mind. So it was a frustrating painting, but hey, I go off and I watch a couple more videos of people better than me and I get inspired to do it again, so I'm ready to do this again. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this and are inspired to go out and try your own stuff. So this is Scott Williamson with Reality Visuals. I hope you guys found this informative. You guys have a great time, and we'll see you next time here.